Good day, I am Harvey Genti Gules. I'm going to report about different problems of watershed management and watershed protection in Davao City. Watershed management is the study of relevant of the characteristic of watershed aimed at sustainable distribution of its resources and the process of creating and implementing plans, programs, and projects to sustain and enhance watershed functions that affect the plant, animal, and human communities within the boundary. Is a term used to describe the process of implementing land use practices and management practices to protect and improve the quality of the water and other natural resources within watershed by managing the use of those land and water resources in a comprehensive manner. Water protection is a means of protecting lake, river, or stream by managing the entire watershed's drains into it. The source of drinking water can be either surface water based, lakes, rivers, and streams, or groundwater based. Water is always found in a combination with compounds such as minerals or chemicals of one kind or another that can be present naturally as a result of human activity. In both cases, there could be presence of some contaminants, metals, radioactive compounds, microorganisms, among others, that have to be potential to be hazardous to humans. Philippines is generally blessed with abundant water resources. It has 18 major river basins. It has 421 principal river basins. It has 72 lakes. It has coastline stretching 266,000 square kilometer. Dependable surface water supply is around 126,790 mcm per year, and groundwater potential is around 20,200 mcm per year. So, water management in the Philippines, a two-tier between national and local government agencies. So, both local and national government can manage water use, watershed, and water quality. So, in national government, there are a lot of agencies, as you can see into the drawing, and there are all the requirements to manage the watershed and water use and water quality. What is EMB? EMB stands for Environmental Management Bureau, formulates plans, programs, and appropriate environmental quality standards for prevention and control of pollution and protection of the environmental and ensures their implementation. FMB, Forest Management Bureau, responsible for conservation, management, development, and proper use of the country's environmental and natural resources, especially forests and grazing lands, mineral resources, including those reservation and watershed areas and land of public domain. NWRB, National Water Resources Board, is the government agency which manages and regulates all water resources and services in the Philippines. It integrates and coordinates all water-related activities that have social, environmental, and economic impacts in the country. EDIS, Interfacing Development Interventions for Sustainability, is an environmental and non-government organization dedicated to the protection and preservation of Davao's watersheds. It has been registered as non-profit organization with the Securities Exchanges Commission since March 29, 1999. WMC, Davao Watershed Management Council, is a multi-sectional government body tasked with managing the resources of watersheds. It has have 8 watersheds: Davao River, Lasang River, Tugani River, Bunawan River, Talumo River, Matina River, Lipadas River, Sibulan River. In the picture, there is a table and you can see the respected barangays and the total and the area per river. The river basin is likely to be required for water abstraction in the near future. Davao City was district estimate that this supply will not be sufficient for the Baweños. This is why is looking the adjacent Panigan-Tamugan watershed located in Baguio district as the future source of drinking. However, banana and pineapple plantation have assaulted the slopes of Davao City mountains, cutting down the trees and covering forest land into monocrop plantations. Their non-compliance of existing national and local policies regarding the implementation of a 50-meter buffer zone has resulted in the further soil erosion and flooding and the lowlands rampant use of pesticides through aerial or boom spraying has also further heightened the risk of contaminating local aquifers and water tables. Uniformly, Davao River has been identified as one of the polluted rivers in the country today. Davao River plays very important role to the people of Davao City, but unfortunately, its water quality has considerably deteriorated based on the 5-year water quality assessment made by Environment Management Bureau. Pollution is due mainly to the unregulated use and poor methods of fertilizer and pesticides, inappropriate land use practices, inadequate monitoring of industrial and commercial premises and activities, and poor maintenance of septic tanks, absence of sewage, rivers, and environmental destruction. According to the World Commission on Water for 21st century, more than half of the world's major rivers are being seriously depleted and polluted. 25 million people fled their homes in 1998 because of depletion, pollution, degrading, and poisoning of river basins, outnumbering the war-related refugees. For the first time of the history, by 2025, the number of environmental refugees could quadruple. Rivers are for life, not for waste. There are four main sources of river water pollution: agriculture, factories, mines, and people. Many towns and factories are built near rivers so that they can use water from the river, but most often that water is not clean before it is put back into the river. This dirtying of water, also air and soil, is called pollution. The pollution of rivers and streams with chemical contaminants has become one of the most critical environmental problems of the century. Phosphates and nitrates coming from fertilizers, detergents, and livestock waste present in natural waters is one of the most serious problems in the environment because they contribute to the eutrophication process. Too much of these nutrients promote algal bloom. Algae reproduce and die rapidly. The decomposition process will use up more oxygen and water, depriving other organisms of oxygen. Americans rank pollution of drinking water and rivers and lakes as their top two environmental concern. Mining pollution has historically been major source of degradation of natural resources systems such as river, coastal, and air. So, problem 3 analysis of DRB problems and issues. In As you can see into the picture, there is causes, core problems, effects. So, at the causes, unharmonized development, land use and resource management plans, weak environmental governance, and enforcement of laws and policies, poverty, upland migration, rapid expansion of built-up areas, timber poaching, pollution from agricultural farms, improvement solid and liquid waste disposal, lack of sanitation facilities, settlement along riverbanks, coastlines. So, core problems, degradation of forest lands and conversion to other inappropriate plants. So, as a result, poor, poor water quality. So, effects, reduce resilience, ecosystems, and communities. So, depletion of forests cover, biodiversity loss, soil erosion, siltation, flooding, landslides, disruptions of economic activities, reduced production, and ecotourism value. So, this destruction of coastal aquatic habitat, marine biodiversity loss, reduced ecotourism value, disruption of economic activities, damage, losses, waterborne health problems. Given all the problems and issues that have been raised, the major challenges that the master plan will seek to address over the next 15 years. The protection and conservation of ENR assets in DRB, large parts of which are degraded, elevation of the poverty situation in rural areas which are largely the ancestral domain of indigenous peoples, increasing the resiliency of ecosystems, communities, and livelihoods to natural hazards and the impacts of climate change, enhancement of the capability of the designated on-site local and resources managers to effectively manage areas titled or tenured to them, putting in place the appropriate and effective governance system for DRB management. Davao City major watershed issues. Unregulated water extraction, deforestation, land use conflicts, improper cultivation of highly lands, poor waste management, limited government resources for watershed management policies and ordinances on watershed protection in Davao City. City Ordinance number 5169-0 of 2001, Water Resources Protection and Management Code for Davao City. City Ordinance No 0310-017 of 2007, Watershed Protection Conservation Management Ordinance of Davao City. City Ordinance number 0298-09 of 2009, City Ordinance for the proper harvesting, storage, and utilization of rainwater harvesting code. Watershed issues and updates. IDIS conducts interfacing with national and local government agencies on non-metallic mining in Davao City. On this year's facing, IDIS again partnered with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources Region 11 and City Environment and Natural Resources Office and discussed non-metallic mining in Davao City last October 29, 2020. The interfacing was participated by the Mines and Geoscience Bureau Region 11, Environmental Management Bureau Region 11, Davao City INRO, and other organization and office participate. Basalt and sand and gravel, limestone and volcanic tuff are among the most common non-metallic minerals in Davao City according to Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Mining claims examiner engineer Ronald Villanueva in his discussion regarding mining, how qualifying should only be permissible with permit, what sample parameters and guidelines are to be considered in mining since mining is pervasive and polarizing issue, there are irreversible consequences and destruction. Those he reiterates the importance of conservation management, development, and proper use of state's mineral resources, including reservations, watersheds, and lands of the public domain. ID's partners discuss plantation and aerial spray issues, the interfacing development interventions for sustainability. IDs, together with the Fertilizers and Pesticides Authority, Sustainable Integrated Area Development in Mindanao, Convergence for Asset Reform and Regional Development, or SIMCARD. Officers of Councilor Maria Belen Acosta and Councilor Ralph Abilia and officials of Barangay Sirib and Lacson discuss and concern on plantation and the revival of the aerial spraying regulation in Davao City last October 23, 2020. Highlights of agreed action points: promotion of anti-aerial spray policy in affected local communities or barangay and lobby the same to their respective cities. Municipality further the revival of multi-partite monitoring team and plantation was also emphasized. The FPA suggested that barangay officials will deputize as local MMT strengthen self-monitoring of plantation and include the city agriculture office to monitor good and negative plantation practices. For this to be fast-tracked, and executive order issued by the city of mayor was identified as possible option. Barangays officials were also urged to lead in drafting their own regulative resolution and ordinances, especially on the plantations, waste management measures, land use management, and crop conversion regulation. Exact corporate social responsibility from plantation companies operating in their respective barangays, come up with the list incentives and benefits on both plantation and barangays, and mandate plantation companies to ensure proper installation of road and drainage system. That's all. Thank you.